We are barely into 2022. All states have dropped COVID-19 restrictions, and cases are pretty much going down or dropping significantly, right? Employment rates are almost back to pre-pandemic levels. With all of this, the student loan payments have been paused again. At the end of this pause, we'll be roughly at 30 months of pause payments. And this is leading people to probably forgotten they even have student loans. No matter where you are or how you handle the last 26 months of the pause, I want to make sure that you utilize the next 4 months to take advantage of the paused payments. Today, we will cover the significance of the pause and a couple of things to think about to better your financial future during this extension on the student loan interest pause. Let's get to it.
Welcome to the Financial Mirror. Where future success is reflected in our knowledge of fixing the one thing we can control, ourselves.
Thanks for joining me today on The Financial Mirror as we continue to work on improving the one thing you can control, yourself. If this is your first time joining in, don't forget to hit the subscribe on YouTube to be notified of all the new releases as they come out every single week. If you are listening to this on the podcast, thank you. No matter what platform you listen to, you can find The Financial Mirror right there. So make sure that you leave that 5-star review, leave that written comment on the YouTube, on the Facebook, on the Spotify, on the Apple, all of them. Make sure that you do that, and those go a long ways in getting this information out to many other listeners that need help, need a little bit of push on that personal finance journey. So I could not hold back. I had to do an episode on this. So here is the article. This was from April the 6th. We are now pushing the student loan pause all the way to August the 31st. So we are about 26 months into student loan payment pause. On April 26th or on April 6th, they paused, got extended again. So with this extension, it's going to put us at 30 months of pause payment. This is equivalent to about $150 billion in unearned revenue over the time of this extension for the federal government. So I don't know how you feel about it. I'll be honest. I don't know how you feel about it. There's a lot of different emotions I'm sure people have. So I wanted to address it. I wanted to bring it up. I think sometimes doing some very real life events are very good. Hoping to give some maybe different perspectives. Want to start off say we don't have to agree on this whole entire topic. We don't for any reason have to agree. I just want to give you another perspective, sort of from my stance, on how I look at this student loan pause and how maybe you can start to look at it or take some of these thoughts and generate them into your own conclusion. But yeah, I thought it was a great time to hit this up and go over. I would have loved to do it last week, but because of the Increase Your Income series wrapping up, I had to put a pause on that and say, let me do this the next week, and maybe there might be more information. Well, there's not. So there's not much more information on it. It's kind of is what it is, and we will go with it. So here's what I want to address. I want to address the whole thing at large first. The biggest thing about student loan payment pause is sometimes we look at things that the federal government enacts or state government enacts or whichever government enacts, and we take it at face value. We don't see the lasting effects, right? Like we don't really see what's going to come out of this. So we hear this new policy. We identify how it affects us. This is the normal continuum. And then we decide if we like it, love it, or hate it, right? Like we almost have a selfish mentality about these type of things, to where we hear a new policy, we see how it affects us, and then we decide if we're going to like it, love it, or hate it. So I don't know where you stand, and you've probably already, if you've heard this, you've probably already decided on how you feel about it. Like if you have student loans, you may love it. You really may love it. And I'm not here to tell you that you shouldn't love it. I'm really not. I'm not here to tell you you should hate it. I'm here to show you, first off, why it's not. It has its downsides. But I'm also going to show you how to take advantage of it, right? Like I'm going to hit both sides. So no matter where you stand on the subject, I want you to know there's something in this episode that's going to be for you. So the pause, along with all the other subsequent pauses, is going to have huge ramifications. I don't really care if it's if we look at it from a small micro perspective or a macro perspective, but when you take away $150 billion of unearned revenue, there's going to be ramifications. So I want you to think about it. Think about it from your own personal budget. What if all of a sudden you had budgeted your month, and then your job was like, this month we're not going to pay you $500. No reason, nothing you did. We're just not going to give you that extra $500. We're just going to take that from you this month. How's that going to affect your budget? Like that's going to hurt, right? Like that's going to feel a little bit like you're going to have to go back and be like, okay, well, guess I can't spend this much in food. I guess I'm going to be eating ramen and Viennas, whatever people. Do you call them Viennas or Viennas? Anyways, put that in the comment section. Vienna or Vienna. I don't even know. I guess you would spell it the same. So you're going to comment. I'm not even going to know. But anyways, that's what you're going to be eating, right? Because your boss just said, I'm not going to pay that $500. Well, think about it on a federal government scale. They're losing $5 billion a month in revenue for these pauses. How does that affect our defense budget? How does that affect our transportation budget, our education budget, our unemployment budget? How does that affect all of these other budgets, right? There's lasting ramifications of this. So there is going to be an impact with this pause. You may not feel it because you may not care what our defense budget is. You may not care what our transportation budget is. You may not file for unemployment. You don't understand what that budget's about. But all in all, it's going to have ramifications. And that's the part that I want to hit. So I want to go over why it's a bad thing, but more importantly, how you can take advantage of it. So today I'm going to discuss the pause, what you can expect, how to make the most of these next 4 months that it's been extended, and hopefully you walk away with some very valuable information. So let's get to it. We only got 4 months to go, so let's not miss these next 30 minutes. So why is it a bad thing? I alluded to this earlier, but I want to dig into it a little more. The issue that I have with this is that these continued extensions really have no purpose, right? Like they really have no purpose. Employment is almost back to pre-pandemic levels. COVID-19 cases have dropped significantly, and all 50 states to date have dropped all COVID or pretty much all COVID restrictions, right? Like there's not much left. So what's the purpose? Like, why are we pausing student loan repayment again? Well, that's a great question. I'm so glad you asked because I was so eager to answer. This is my opinion. So all my opinion, and once, like I stated earlier, you don't have to agree with my opinion. You can have your own opinion, and I'm okay with you having your own opinion. But I think that this opens the door to say it's political. I think that this becomes a political matter. And I'm going to say that because I think that with Biden running on a platform to forgive student loans, he ran on the number 10,000. He said, I'm going to forgive everyone's student loan debt by $10,000. He had to step that back from a universal point. But ultimately that was something that was ran on, right? So if you're going to run on the fact that I'm going to forgive student loans, you have to imagine that that's not a very universally agreed upon thing, right? Because I just told you $5 billion a year in revenue comes from student loan interest, right? not even including that this is money the federal government has given out and is supposed to be repaid. Not even looking at that. The interest alone is driving billions of dollars. So if you look at it, so he has forgiven student loans. So let's backtrack. He has forgiven student loans for certain categories like disabled, schools that closed, borrower defense, and people working in public service positions. He has forgiven student loans out there. If you don't fall into one of those categories, you haven't seen a student loan forgiveness. But he has forgiven some student loans on there. So I have to give him, a man of his word on doing some of those things. But as you can see, there are still a lot of student loans that haven't been forgiven. Running on a platform of $10,000 for all student loan borrowers, you have to think that there's some kind of political incentive to keep pausing this thing, right? Because how do we address the forgiveness message if we don't continue to pause it? Well, to help this by not having forgiven any student loans, this helps the forgiveness message because it keeps student loans relevant. Okay. If there's one way to get people upset that their student loans haven't been forgiven is to actually make them start paying for it again. So if you all of a sudden create a environment or a country where you say, I'm going to forgive student loans by 10,000. I'm not even all student loans. I'm just saying I'm 10,000. And then all of a sudden you don't do that and you now make me start paying for it again. I'm going to be mad. Right? You told me you were going to do 10,000 and now you've not only not done that, but you're now making me pay for it again. So this is where it keeps it relevant. If there's one way to get people upset is to make them pay for it. And if the administration can prevent people from paying it, they can keep people just happy enough to not hear their collective voices come out. So if I can pause it and not make you face the payments again just yet, I can almost suppress your collective voice, because if you start getting mad, the answer is just going to be, well, what are you mad for? You don't even have to pay it right now, right? Like, what are you mad for? Like, that's the response, right? So if you can, the longer you can drag out this pause, all of a sudden you never technically have to address the problem that people won't answer. People want to know where their $10,000 in student loan forgiveness is. People want to know why their student loans are not being forgiven on a platform that was run on student loan forgiveness. So if you don't have to address that, and you just keep pausing it to avoid that, having to address that problem, people don't really have a stance to really be mad, but they also can't really be happy, but they're just happy enough. And that's how I'm thinking about it. So that's one reason that this is, this whole entire thing is bad, because, it doesn't really have a purpose, right? The other reason that it's bad is because it's seen time and time again. But this is another opinion of mine. This moves completely out of the realm of just student loans. This is just debt in general, but it's an opinion of mine, and I think it's very true, and we've seen it time and time again. But forgiving a loan or any debt doesn't address the problem. Okay, if I forgive someone's loan, they will replace it with another debt more times than not. Now, you're going to come at me and you're going to tell me, well, I was in debt and then I got out. Someone forgave my debt and I never went back in debt. That is amazing. It's an excellent story, and I'm so proud of you for being so, first off, courageous to say it, but secondly, strong in a sense of not letting debt control you again. For most people, they're not that strong when it comes to debt. When something goes away without ever feeling the pain and it just disappears, they will replace it with another debt. It doesn't have to be a student loan. It could be a credit card debt. It could be a personal loan debt. It could be any other kind of debt. But to get out of debt scotch-free and never feel it, like you borrowed money, you never had to pay it back, but you still got to reap the rewards of the money. You don't really ever feel it. You never felt that you never really felt that energy that it took to pay that back. You never had took all those hard sleepless nights of having to pay that back. And that's the reality of debt in general. But if you bought a car and then I was like, oh, you don't have to pay the car back, you're going to treat that car differently. Like, that car is not the same as the car that you just worked your tail off to pay $40,000 towards. You're going to treat that car differently. Getting student loans forgiven is no different. If somebody forgives your loans, you're not going to think the same about debt, and you're just going to go get more debt. Like that's the way that the mind works. It never felt the pain of debt. So it doesn't realize that debt's bad. It hasn't been able to feel that yet. You've got to let yourself feel that. When someone fights and they work and they grind and they eat those ramen and Vienna Viennas, and they get out of debt, they know how it feels and they never want to be there again. And that's one of the most crucial parts of debt, is that it's a huge learning lesson for anyone that goes about it. And I think that's the part that many need to realize. So what does the pause entail? Well, the biggest thing that this pause is doing is you don't have to make payments on your loan at all. Your balance will remain the same because no interest is going to be accruing. Okay. This is all going to continue until August 31st, 2022. And the announcement said that this is the final extension. But this could not be. Who knows, right? Like, who knows? And this is not advice, only an opinion, but I see I see at least one more extension coming out. It goes back to my original thoughts. The second you make those that thought student loan forgiveness was going to happen have to pay, their voices are going to be heard. Having that volume of voice, that collective voice coming out right before midterm elections, not really a good strategy. That's not really a good strategy to win the midterm elections. So personally, I foresee another extension coming out, at least one more, for that simple fact. But once again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is not something that you take and you start utilizing. Oh, he says there's going to be one more extension. Nope, it's not what I'm saying. I'm saying my opinion says there's going to be one more, and that's my reason for that opinion. So what can you do right now? And this is the part that I think is most crucial. I think that this is the single part that needs to be addressed. This is the elephant in the room. This is where we need to go next. But the biggest thing you can do right this second with these pauses is pay off other debts, right? I think that's the one thing, if I could recommend, if someone came to me and was like, I want your personal opinion on what to do right now, I think that's my answer. I'm paying off all the other debts I have. I'm not focusing on those student loans. Currently, I'm not focusing on those student loans. If I've got other debts, I am going to put 135,000% into those other debts, and I am going to crush them. I'm getting rid of them. They will no longer be a part of my life come August 31st. And when I am required to start paying these again, because I personally, another personal opinion of mine, this episode is full of opinions. This is just my opinion. This is an opinionated episode. But my opinion is that there is not going to be a student loan forgiveness. Like, it's not universally accepted, right? Because there's still an economic factor that comes with it, where you can't just wipe away a bunch of money that's owed, that the federal government has churned out over the past couple of decades, and expect to just nothing to come out of it. Like, I can't see it happening. It's not universally accepted. $5 billion in revenue a month, kind of hard to budget against, right? When you're already in debt as a country. So I don't really see it happening. So what I'm doing right now is I'm focusing on those debts. I'm crushing out every other debt that I've got. And then when it's time to start paying these student loans again, I'm using all the money I've got to pay those bad boys off, and then off they go. If you don't have debt right now, I'm just pounding out my student loans as hard as I can. And I mean, I am giving all the cash I got right towards those student loans, and I am going to let them suffer. I mean, everything I've got. Because think about it. if I can pay down that debt, that student loan debt over this next 4 months, when the interest does start accruing again, it's accruing on a smaller balance, meaning it's not accruing as much. I'm not wasting as much money in the future. So using this pause to just, pause your finances, not a good idea. Totally not a good idea. But if you'll put all that money into other debts, or you'll put all that money into your student loans, you are going to have more money in your pocket in the end. So that's my encouragement. That's what I am pushing and telling you. Hey, this is probably how I would do it. But you got to do something. Don't take this pause and say, well, I'm just going to, go out to eat more, go buy that fancy thing I wanted, go do this. Like, don't do that. Take all this money that you would be paying towards your student loans, right? That you've budgeted to pay to student loans, and put that towards other debts, put that towards your student loans, put that towards any debt you have, and crush it. Like, get rid of it. You don't need it in your life. And it's going to be the best feeling in the world when you do get rid of them. So I hope that this is eye-opening. I hope that you've developed your own opinions. Hopefully this gives you another view of the situation, another view of how you can look at this pause and see exactly, maybe there was something that I said that really just struck and was like, hey, this is how I think. And or if you disagree with me, or maybe there's something I said that you really liked, and you incorporate it into your own opinion. Oh, but I'm curious, if you have an opinion about the pause, put it in the comment section below. I'm very curious to see some of the other opinions that are out there that talk about this student loan pause, to see exactly sort of what the consensus is about it. Like I said, I've got my opinion on it. I've got an opinion for everything, and I'll happily share it, but it's not to persuade you for you to adopt my opinion. I share my opinion because I think that every person should have an opinion and not be required to like or love someone else's. Like, everybody just is entitled to think the way they would like. So if you put that in the comment section below, I'd love to read it. I love reading other people's opinions about topics. So without further ado, if you are in debt or you need someone to look at your finances, head on over to thefinancialmirror.org. Hit the book now on the home screen, and you will be on your way to setting up your free consultation today. This is a free consultation. We'll sit down and we will discuss your finances. We will discuss your goals. We will discuss where you're at, and we will ultimately come up with a plan that you can utilize to get you to where you want to be. It's not, I'm not going to sit you down and give you financial advice saying, go invest in this stock, go and buy this mutual fund. That's not what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is show you how you can take what you've been given, what you've been blessed with, and put that to good use to create a positive and amazing financial outcome. Now, if you are ready to give a little bit of extra support to the Financial Mirror, head on over to thefinancialmirror.org, hit shop in the top right, or just go to thefinancialmirror.org/shop and pick you up some awesome Financial Mirror gear. I continue to expand the store. I've got this shirt. This is one of the shirts that's on the marketplace right here. So $12.50 as of today in April. $12.50. Never know where the price is going to go. Inflation is getting nuts in some capacity. So never know where it's going to go. But pretty inexpensive articles of clothing just to go out and spread the message and give a little support to the Financial Mirror. Shirts from about $12.50 up, depending on what type of shirt you want, but pretty inexpensive, but does give a lot of extra support to the stream. Now, I appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed my rant. Hopefully you enjoyed me just going on and on about opinions and Viennas and Viennas and whatever else that we discussed. But I appreciate it. So without further ado, I appreciate you listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button, comment, give me your opinions, share this with your friends, your family, your coworkers. Let this message get out. If you are listening on a podcast, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, leave that 5-star review and that written comment. Those both go a long ways on the podcast as well. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I love doing the current event stuff. I love when I see things come across that that are I think is relevant enough to discuss on the stream, on the podcast. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy talking about it. Hopefully, you enjoyed as much as I love, or you enjoyed listening to it as much as I love doing the episode. So, till next week, continue improving the one thing you can control: yourself. Peace.
Well, that wraps up today's Financial Mirror. Join us next week as we continue to work on ourselves, change our mentality, and to commit to achieving the success we always envisioned. Regardless of your platform, help us grow as a community. Please like, subscribe, and share with the people in your lives.